Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm Jannie B, and welcome to the Jannie B Perspective. It is Thursday. It is September the 9th. Yes, it is September the 8th. This is episode number 8 for season number 2, and this is the Ask Jannie edition. Okay, this is the Ask Jannie edition. Okay, I had to go on here on Facebook and get it all set up. And so what I'm going to do today is answer questions. People have questions. They have relationship questions, and I have answers. I just want to make a disclaimer that I am not a therapist. I'm not a counselor. I am not a coach. I am not an expert on everything. I am an expert kind of sort of on my own life. And I have had some life experiences. And so I'm just going to take the time to answer these questions. Remember, you can disagree with me. You can agree with me. And I would love for you to join in and share this broadcast. Subscribe on YouTube, because I am on YouTube. I'm on Facebook right now, and I'm doing my show live. And also make a comment, share, and subscribe. Please make a comment. Okay, so without further ado, we're going to get into Ask Jannie. This is the relationship edition. Let's go over here and start with the very first question. Okay, so how did I get these questions? Some of these questions were given to me by people. They've been asked, and some of them I just found, or there were like topics on social media, and I found those and I added them to today. All right, so what we have on the screen is romantic love a prerequisite to marital satisfaction? Is romantic love a prerequisite to marital satisfaction? Okay, first of all, for those who know me and those who don't, I am not married. I have been married before. I've been married twice. And the total of those years were about 19 years. So I have some knowledge on this, okay? So as a single person, but what I'm going to say, my answer for that would be yes. I absolutely think that romantic love should be a prerequisite for marital satisfaction. And here's why. We have all other type of prerequisites or preferences that are required of us, or that we require of other people in relationships. It can be trust, it can be loyalty, consistency, all other things. I just can't think right now. It's other things. Those are the top ones. Honesty, all those things. And the reason why I think romantic love should be a prerequisite is because romantic love is like the opposite of platonic, and it represents an emotional and a sexual aspect for romantic love. I think that romantic love, that would add a spark to the relationship, that you need that, because all relationships settle down like dust, goes up, comes down, and it settled down. There's nothing wrong with that, because that's where we find the stability in our relationships. That's where we see what we're working with, how we set our foundation, how stable it is when we come down from the love bombing, when we come down from the high, or when we come down from the honeymoon phase, right? So once all that's gone, because sometimes you have infatuation, but so I feel like if you get married, that a romantic love should be something that you have in a relationship because it's going to give you that spark. You know what I'm saying? So that when you get past the, as I said, the honeymoon phase, you're in your 5th year, you're in your 6th year, you're in your 7th year. You're going to work, you're coming home, you're cooking dinner, you're washing the clothes, you're picking up the kids, you're ironing, you're all that. So imagine if you're doing all that and you don't have the romantic aspect, if you don't have that part, then what you got? Who are you living with? Your roommate? You know what I'm saying? You're just living with your really best friend and you guys are really cool, but you don't have that part. Okay, so this is if you just joined, this is Ask Janie. These are questions that were given to me and I am answering them today. So I look so remember, my answer was yes. And there was a time when marriages were not based on love. So we know that that's like a history of marriage. And then, so actually the marriages that we have now are modern marriages because people are marrying for love and not necessarily money. But people do marry for money and people do marry for other reasons, even subconsciously, if they don't know it. They're not necessarily marrying because they love somebody. They're not necessarily marrying because they even respect the other person or they even value the other person. Some people are marrying for security. Like, I just want to be taken care of. I want to be protected. I want someone to be home when I get home. People are marrying because they're lonely. I don't think that's the reason to be in a relationship, is for loneliness, because you can be in that relationship and become lonely. And I went all the way to the left on this answer from this question. Okay, so the next one. You can always drop a comment. I'm going to try and go to the comment section. I'm working this alone. Sometimes that's difficult. Okay, number 2, should arguments in a couple be avoided or encouraged? I know it's a weird question, but that's how it was given to me. Should arguments be, I think it's between a couple, be avoided or encouraged? First of all, what do we define as an argument? What is an argument to you? Because an argument is like 2 people being on the opposite sides of an issue. You're disagreeing. And some people call it a heated debate. I think more importantly about what is important is how you argue, because everybody's going to argue. But I always thought arguing was like if you're like totally raising your voice and you're very upset. But some people say an argument can just be a disagreement. So my definition right now, the argument is going to be 2 people with 2 very opposite opinions, and like they're strongly, rigidly holding to those 2 opinions. Okay, so you should fight fair. Fighting fair is what? We shouldn't be calling people names. We should not be condescending. We should not talk at people. We should not accuse the other person of what they're doing. We should absolutely tell the person what we feel that they're doing, making I statements like, I feel like you are talking down to me. Not saying, oh, you're always talking down to me. You feel like with that. But if you tell the person, I feel like you're doing such and such, I can kind of we can talk now. Now we're communicating. Now we're talking to one another and not at one another. So should arguments be encouraged? I'm just gonna have to say yes, because we shouldn't be avoiding conflict. Conflict is how you solve problems. Is that because if you run away from them, your problems are just gonna pile up, right? So you're just gonna have all these problems, and here's the relationship right here, and you can't get over that because you got all this garbage going on. So I'm gonna say that it's more important how you argue than even necessarily what you're arguing about. Okay, so the next one is, should people date people much older than themselves? Let me go to the comments. Let's see what's in the comment section. Oh, okay. We have Maurice, and he's talking about makeup sex. He's talking about communicating. Let's see if I can put it on the screen. He says makeup sex will fix that. I don't know what he was responding that part to. He says communicating. I call it. I don't have time to argue because then I'm a hit below the belt. Okay, and that's one thing we just said not to do. I don't know. He might be like trolling me right now. I'm getting married for that coin. Okay, I'm being trolled. So we're going to take the troll off of the screen. We're going to take the troll off of the screen and we're going to go back to our question. Our question was this the question? Should people date people much older than themselves? I mean, should you? Who's creating these rules? That's up to the individual person. Personally, my answer is I don't really prefer to date someone or that's 10 years like plus my senior, or when I see people and there's 10 years between them. I mean, I'm not downing those relationships and not saying there aren't some wonderful ones, but I just feel like 10 years is a lot. So I would just put the limit there. But I know some people feel like none of that matters when you find love. This is my personal opinion because this is called the Jannie B perspective, and this is my view on things. If you have another view, please drop your comment there because I want to hear from you. I think a safe zone is between if the person is between 5 and 7 years older than you. And that's it. Because my reason for that is because I feel like, what is there in common? And then once you hit, okay, if you're like 30 and they're 40, that might be a little different. You're 35, they're 45. That might be okay. But once you get up to like 50 and they're 60 and all of a sudden, or if it's more than that, or then you're like 45, I know I'm probably stepping on some people's toes, 45, and that person is like almost 70. I just feel like you might become like this. I'm gonna get off of it. I'm done. I was about to say you might become that person's caretaker, but I guess I don't know. I just don't. 10 plus years is a lot for me. I don't know how I got there. Okay, so next one. Is monogamy natural? Is monogamy natural? Okay, I have two answers for this. First of all, what is monogamy? Monogamy is a relationship between only two people, one on one. I'm gonna read what I picked up. Monogamy is a relationship with only one partner at a time. It can be sexual or emotional. Often it is both. So monogamy is between one person with one other partner, one at a time. Is that natural? If you can put a comment and tell me if you think that's natural. Let me go look in the comments and see if my troll is still there. Let's see. Monogamy. Okay. Kafele Sterling says monogamy is highly unnatural. I am on the side of Kafele. I feel that first of all, my answer is no. Okay. And then my second answer is no, it is not natural for everyone because there are some people who do it well. And there's some people who don't, who struggle with monogamy. I don't think it is for everybody. I think that if you know that you struggle in this area, then you probably should veer away from monogamous relationships, right? Because what you're going to do is potentially hurt the other person, not be honest with yourself, not living in your truth. One thing I do want to say is my show is not it's not a religious show. I'm not a religious person. I'm a spiritual person. So a lot of things of what I say comes from the facts that we are human. I'm very much a humanist. And I do have a spirituality. So I'm not going to give answers that are necessarily going to correspond with someone who, from the Bible, something like that. But, there was a time when, a lot of people were not, monogamous. People had more than one wife, or there's also tribes where there have been, matriarchal, and the female had more than one husband. So anyway, what did I say? I said no was one answer, and the other one was it's not natural for everyone. So in general, I think it's not, but it's not impossible. It is not impossible. It is very possible to be monogamous. There are some reasons why. There are some pluses to being monogamous. It keeps your life simple. You're dealing with one other person. Sometimes when it's just also a small group, meaning one-on-one, one person, like a small group is usually more intimate and more sacred. Some people feel like they have more of a sacred connection with someone because they're not dealing with multiple people and multiple partners. Okay, so that makes sense. So if there is someone, I'm sorry, I'm not giving advice, I'm just answering questions. If there is someone who struggles with it, I absolutely feel like you shouldn't be in monogamous relationships. There's other kind of relationships you can be in. There's open relationships. People have open relationships. There are some people are in an open relationship, but they don't know they're in an open relationship, right? Because the other one person is open, but the other person don't know what's happening. That's not funny. You can always find somebody, that's into what you're into. Also, there is ethical poly. There are polyamorous relationships. There are polyamorous communities. And when I say ethical, I mean where all the adults, the 2, the 3, whomever, they know what's going on. I'm not going to get into what it is and how you do it, because you can totally Google that. And a lot of people confuse polyamory with polygamy, and that those are 2 different things. So what I'm saying, what was I saying? That ethical poly is that all adults are consenting, that you're being honest, and everyone knows what is going on. So I gave that long answer. Okay, what do we have? Let me go look back in the comments and see. Kafele says, that was funny. I don't know what happened. I probably said something funny, right? People say I'm funny. Okay, I feel I'm a little funny. But sometimes people are laughing like when I wasn't trying to be funny. And then I'll be like, what? Okay, he also says monogamy is highly unnatural. Okay. And Kafele also says, I had a lot of fun dating, sometime 20 years my senior. Oh, okay. You did date them, right? Okay. That was the question of, should I date someone older than me? He's kind of looking like he, like that. that worked for him. I meant to say someone. Got you. I figured that out. Okay, on to the next question here. We said romantic. We said monogamy. Okay. Should I date someone with 4 minor children and 4 different baby daddies? The person said baby daddies, but I wanted to be fair here, so I put baby mamas as well. Okay. No, immediately no. No. Here's why. And I'm not against children. I just have adult children, so I probably think from a different school of thought. Nothing wrong with 4 children. I actually have 4. They're grown, they're adults. I have 4, right? I divorced and I actually dated with 3, remarried, and then had another one and had 4, and then divorced again and actually dated with 4. But it wasn't 4 different people. And I'm not even judging about the 4 different people. We know that there is going to be drama either behind door number 1, door number 2, door number 3, or door number 4, right? There is going to be drama lurking somewhere. If you're dating a person with children and they have that many children, you're not going to get a lot of time with them, right? Like also, and when you're dealing with all those personalities, okay, maybe 2 of the co-parents are super cool, right? Everything's great. The other 2 may not be. So I'm just going to say no. Hey, I told you, don't do it. I told you, don't do it. Comments, let's see. Okay, no new comments here. I also could check on, sometimes I have comments on YouTube. So let's go to the next question. Don't do it. So my answer was no. Immediately no. Okay, another question that somewhat relates to children. Does divorce harm children? It can, right? It can. And I'm someone, like I said, I've had experiences in this world. I've been divorced. So I know like the effects that it can have on your children, that it can have on your own personal life. So what I want to say is that it can, but I also feel that staying in a dysfunctional relationship, staying in a toxic relationship, in an unloving environment, or even an abusive one. And abuse, remember, is not just putting your hands on somebody. There's emotional abuse, there's financial abuse, okay? There's different types of abuse. Emotional, financial, physical. You play mind games with somebody. There's different types of abuse. So I think that I'd rather see a child come from a home where they say I'd rather see a child come from a broken home than to stay and remain in one. I think absolutely we do need to talk to our children when a relationship's in, even if it's a divorce or if it's not divorce, or it's just a long-term relationship, or relationship that was, pretty much like a marriage, you just didn't, legally bind it or whatever. I think that we need to talk to our children, because we say children are resilient, but they're really just adaptive. They really just adapt. That's what children do. They don't want to disappoint us. They don't want to let their parents down. So they just, they go with the flow. They just try to, to get along. And sometimes we think because they aren't saying anything or they're not acting out, that maybe the child is just okay. When we try to hide things for our children, best believe me, the kids saw it all. They already saw it. Kids, they see it. They're just not able to verbalize it. They may not tell you. They may not know how to articulate it. But when things are going on in a relationship, especially if it's playing out in front of them, or our emotions are really involved, if you've had an argument, you don't look happy, and there's like this constant pressure or toxicity type of environment that the family is in, you ain't hiding nothing from your children. Kids know these things. They know when you're unhappy. They know when you're consistently not getting what you deserve. They know when you're putting out too much and not getting enough back. So yes, absolutely it can, but it doesn't have to. And I know we like to protect our children from things like divorce, or relationships ending. But what I want to say is, what we can teach them is how to work through them. If they see us being mature, if they see us, if we're still in our emotions, still in our feelings, but dealing with them in a healthy manner. That's teaching our children, because we don't want to protect them from what they need to know. You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes we're like, I don't want them to see my pain. Well, they're going to have pain. So show them that you can go through something and you can also get over it, that you can work through it, and that you can go beyond it. So I think that was my answer right there. Was that enough? Okay, next one. I'm going to go to the comments just to see. Somebody said, boom. Maurice, I see he's not trolling me anymore. Okay. No trolls. No trolling. Please don't troll me. Please don't troll me on my show, Maurice. Oh, let's see. The question. I'm doing everything here. I am the producer. I am everybody. Okay, so divorce. The next one is, should I date a coworker? If you just joined, this is the Ask Jannie edition. I am answering questions that were given to me, and some that I found in some different articles, and some that I found online. Should I date a coworker? I would say I wouldn't recommend that. I would not recommend dating a coworker, because wait, I'll get to the because, but aren't there some companies that even have policies on things like this, on fraternization? So it can just end really ugly. Yes, we have heard of people who say, I've met, this is where I met my spouse, this is where I met my wife, my lifetime partner, or where I met my husband, and, was at the job. I think that is the exception. I think those situations are a little rare. I think that most of the time people date that coworker and things just don't go well. And guess what, baby? When that relationship is over with, who you got to come back and look back on every Monday morning? Okay, and on Tuesday, and on Wednesday, and on Thursday, and on Friday, you're gonna be looking at that person's face. That's gonna be getting on your nerves. So it's like you have no escape from the person, and then someone's gonna look for another job, and all this stuff. It can carry over. I'm sorry, I'm slurring. It can carry over into the work environment if you have an argument, if things are not going well. So let me look into the comment section. Let's see. We have any. It says. No, not for me. Okay, so Maurice is saying, no, we do not do that. He's with me on the dating the coworker. Okay, until they got the money. Unless they got okay, he's trolling again. He's back to trolling. Okay, we won't put trollers on the screen. He's still there. Let's go back to the questions. All right. No, immediately no. So I wouldn't suggest it. But if you find yourself in that situation, at least don't dive into the dating right away. Like get to you've been at work, you think you know them. Just don't do it. Don't do it. Next question. Should men and women have different functions in a relationship? Okay. So, should men and women have different functions in a relationship? Is this question is this a question like about gender roles? I'm trying to think. It seems like somebody just switched up the question. Okay, I think that whatever the couple decides to do, the two parties involved in the relationship, I feel like they should make the decision on what roles that they should play. I don't feel like just because you are a man or just because you are a woman, you necessarily have to do a certain thing. And I know this is a very old conversation about gender roles. Like, let's just say, just because I'm the woman, I can cook. Sometimes the woman, that's not her forte. Or just because I'm the guy, I'll do all the gardening. I don't know. Maybe the wife does that. I don't know. And I think sometimes like muscle power comes into a play in some things, like men, doing the heavy lifting, men putting things together, men probably doing like yard work and things. I think that absolutely has to do a little with biology because he has the muscles, he has the strength. But I can say this, I would help cut the grass. I would help break up the yard. We did it as a teamwork. You know what I'm saying? We did it as partners. I've absolutely cut the grass by myself and pulled some weeds and did things like that because my husband was working, he hadn't gotten to it and I was tired of seeing it, and I'm like, I live here too. I would hope that the person would do that inside the house as well. So I think my answer is it shouldn't be just because you are a man or a woman, in my opinion, from the Jannie B perspective. I think it should be what that couple decides for themselves. That's it. I'm always kind of like a neutral person. I'm controversial in my own way. Okay, let's see. Are there Kafele says maybe if you work in different departments, it's okay. Okay, let's jump back to that question because let's jump back to what was it? Is it okay? Should I date my coworker? So let's say the person's in a huge company, you work on floor 14 and they are on floor number 7. Well, how did you guys see each other? You must have been working around each other, what you just saw each other passing in the building. I think that still that's probably a little better, but I think it's still going to fall under the same thing because what if one of you don't get past that relationship really well and that one person is stalking the other person or they're harassing you at work? It could get pretty ugly. I don't know. You see, my neck is rolling on this one, but I see how you are, Kafela. You put in that little, like, out of all the cons, you're gonna put in one thing. You're like, well, if you work in different departments, you might can make that work out. I'm like that. I'm always trying to find a way around. Okay, let's see here. John and Nick says, I think your job is a sacred space. Okay, I can get with that. If y'all beefing, that's the last person you want to see at work. Exactly. Because imagine in a regular traditional relationship where you two don't work together. You had your argument, your heated debate, whatever you want to call it, and you guys go your separate ways. At least you had 8 hours without looking at this person. Maybe you brought down some steam. And you know what I'm saying? But now you got to go back to work and you got to see Tyrone at the job. You got to see little Pookie at the job. You know what I'm saying? So I totally get it. That work is, I like the way you say it. And there is a saying that says, don't crap where you work, or don't play around. It is a sacred space. So whatever decision you make about what you're going to do on the job, I think we should make it from the headspace of this is a sacred space. this is my safe place. This is where I make a living. My career, my job is important, and I don't want to do anything to jeopardize it. All right, so let's see. I'm going to come back to that one because I didn't see it. I'll come back to Maurice's. Jonna says, when I was in like the 5th grade, my 5th grade teacher and the PE teacher were married. We could tell when they were beefing. That's true. I think I've actually worked or been someplace where the people, of course, where they worked, and that is true. But like, where the couple, the family work together. So I think whenever it's family and things like that, you are going to sense that tension or that stress. Yes. So I feel you on that one. And sometimes you don't want everybody in your business. Okay. So back up. So Maurice, I think this is the one. Okay. This was the question that I asked. I'm sorry. The question was, should men and women have different functions in a relationship? And so when this question was given to me, I just didn't read it. Then I read it again and I thought to myself, it looks like the person is asking about gender roles. I don't know. It seems like another way of putting it. But Maurice says these gender roles came into play even in gay relationships. Some guys think just because one is more masculine, so if somebody's more masculine presenting, that he should pay for everything. Oh, this is good. This is juicy. And if the other is more feminine, he should cook all the meals. I hate it. Okay, so we know where this concept come from. This is absolutely a patriarchal viewpoint, and patriarchy is where, well, it kind of centers the man, where the man is like the head of the household, the head in the relationship, like he's the leader, he's the masculine one, so he has maybe somewhat superiority over you. And the feminine is more submissive and is more bound to the home and domestic duties, right? So Maurice is telling us that even in the LGBTQ plus A plus community, that some of them subscribe to traditional relationships, and it presents the same problem. And he's saying it's the masculine and the feminine, right? Because just because it's a guy, he should be dishing out. Just because, he's a guy, he's masculine, they should be dishing out all the money, right? And then just because the other person presents feminine, then they should be in the kitchen, whipping it up and doing all those types of things. And so he says that he hates it. Right. I've been like that. I think I was kind of raised on the patriarchy. So I'm also Gen X. So I kind of thought for years this is the way it was. And then I later was like, realized or learned just through education that this is a total social construct, and that we're all humans is how I see it. I'm very much into we're humans. Okay. And I don't think my relationship has to look like the next one. I think that's the problem. We're so cookie cutter that sometimes we miss the boat. Okay. Did I see another comment? I think we already saw this one. The PE teacher would make us wrong. You know what? That's wrong. So John is saying that the PE teacher that was married on the job, which they could be married. Maybe they came married. I don't know. Anyway, they'd make them run hella long. See how that stuff bleeds over to the work? So imagine if somebody that's over you had a little bit of authority to give you extra work, and they having a bad day, because they might have a better day if they don't have to see the face of the person they arguing with. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, let's go. He said that shade. I don't know. Do you mean I was shade? John was shade? Clarify that for me, please. Okay, let's go back to we're going to go to the next question. I think I ran that one into the wall. Divorce, dating a coworker. We talked about should men and women have different. Okay, here's one. Is it okay to keep secrets from your partner? Okay, you would think I would just say no, right? But sometimes I don't think everything is a yes or no or a black and white. I think there's a lot of gray area in the world. You know what I'm saying? Okay, I think there's a lot of gray. And I want to say, I think you should say, I think that we should say as much as we feel safe to say. I actually feel all humans have secrets. I really do. I feel that we have not told everybody everything, right? There's one thing I know about all humans. You got something you don't want me to know. I got something I don't want you to know, right? I think we all have secrets. I wouldn't be encouraging people to just hold on to secrets, but I think that you should say what you feel safe enough to say. And I say it because there's some people in relationships, they don't have a safe space to say, hey, this certain such and thing happened to me. Or maybe they've told someone about something in their past. And what's the worst thing somebody can do? They can bring it up and throw it in your face and make you feel bad about it. What else did I say about that? Because I made a note on this one. So is the secret information that your partner needs to know? Does I'm not saying you should, okay? I'm in the gray area. Is this something your partner needs to know? If they really need to know it, then you should tell them. Is it going to put your partner in danger? You need to tell them. So I'm not just saying, hold on to the secret. Does this secret benefit your relationship? Does it just benefit you? Or is it detrimental to your relationship? All right. I think I see more comments. Let's see what's going down in the comment section. Okay, thank you all for joining me, I want to say, and for engagement and for dropping comments. I don't feel like I'm just sitting here all by myself. Let's back up. So Maurice says, girl, yes, it's crazy. I don't know what he was talking about. And Jandera says, yes, no. Are you saying yes, no about the secrets? About should you keep a secret from your partner? Or is this yes, no about the should men and women have different functions in a relationship? Just clarify that for me and let me know. Let's get to Maurice. He says, I'm in the middle with this one because there are some things I just can't tell my bae, right? Okay, what are those things? You can tell us. Okay, you don't have to tell me what it is, but what's an example of something that you just couldn't tell the person? I mean, are we talking about like cheating? Are we talking about like something like did you steal something? Are you saying something like are you keeping like a major purchase away from them? Have you been shopping or you should be saving money? Did you spend the tax refund? What kind of secrets are we talking about here? You know what I'm saying? Is it something from your past? You don't want to say like how many people you slept with, or maybe it's somebody that you guys know and you guys are shitting and grinning in their face. I'm just saying. And that's a person you might have been in a relationship with, like, and you never said anything. Did their friend try to hit on you and you didn't say nothing? None of this has ever happened to me, guys. I am just dropping some stuff out here. Okay, so let's see. Khadidra says, damn, no service at work. I can't watch. Oh, okay. I'm sorry, Khadidra. Guess what? The show is definitely going to be recorded. So you can always go back and you can watch it on YouTube as well, okay? All right, but I thank you for trying to tune in. Jandera says, I totally agree. She's agreeing with me. I don't know exactly what she is agreeing with. Let me check my computer is giving me a message and I'm making sure it is plugged in. And it is not. Hold on, guys. Oh, shoot. Okay. Or I'm going to lose you guys. I had to turn my fan off. Just a moment. This is a live show. Don't act like y'all don't know what's going on. Okay, so you said you totally agree with me. Thank you. Excuse me, guys, for real. It all depends on what it is, right? So it all depends on what the secret is. But it looks like some of you are agreeing with me saying some of the questions I raised. Oh my God, I'm warm now because I just turned my fan off. It seems like you guys are agreeing with me on some of what I said about the secrets. Like, is it safe to say? What exactly it is, because we are all human and we all are holding on to something that we probably just aren't in the place to say it yet. My sister says, yes, Khadidra. Okay. My personal, let me see. She says my Jandera says my personal bank account is my business. Oh, so would you consider okay. So if I get what you're saying. That's a good one. Sometimes finances, sometimes people don't. Some couples share everything, all the business, like the joint account, their separate accounts, the money goes in the pot, it's all our money. And some people are like, no, this is my money, that's your money, and this one right here is our money. Okay. And then you said it's about the secrets topic, right? We clarified that. Marie says, I'm holding on to a secret about I spent our phone bill money on me, not the bill. Oh, you are they gonna turn the phone off? Because you might want to let him know. That's all I want to say. Okay, let's get on to the next one. Let's see. So we just did the secrets. We were really in the gray section, right? Because I know some people are like, don't keep those secrets from me. Anyway, but I try to give people a little bit of grace. Okay. Our long, that was emphasis on the long distance. Are long distance relationships worth it? Okay, our long distance relationship is worth it. This one is tricky. This is another gray area, but immediately no. I'm going to say I'm leaning towards no, but what I want to say is I think they're worth it when they work and when they're actually successful. Because you hear those stories, right? We met online or we met on vacation and we've been together. It's 25 years, but I never heard anybody say 25 years. So they're like, we were together this amount of time. I think that long distance relationships that they become kind of crappy because you just become being in a relationship with your cell phone. You're in a relationship with the phone. And it defeats the purpose of even being with somebody. To me, this is my opinion. This is Jamie perspective, right? Because the idea of being in a relationship is that the person is near you, is that you're able to touch the person, that you're able to get the attention that you want and that you need, that you're able to hold the person, that you have that connection, that you're able to fellowship together, whatever, or that you're able to do things together instead of, I guess, you got to do a lot of planning and coordination and going back and forth. For me, I would not want to be in a long distance relationship. I've tried it. And at some point, what has to happen? Somebody has to do what? Move, right? But what if it's two people that are really immersed in their career? Or they have children and they're not, and they can't move, or the other person has the same issue. It's like if somebody has to make the sacrifice, and that's a lot to give up your everything and to go, pack up your home, your kids, your career, or if you're in school, your bank account. I'm talking about everything. I've moved across country before, not for a relationship though. So I know what it takes just to do that and then to reestablish in another place that maybe you don't like the climate, the weather, everything. That's a lot to give up for somebody, for love. And that is a lot to just do, period. So I am just more like on long distance relationships. I'm just going to say they are worth it when they actually work and are successful. But I personally don't feel like it is because what if you're in a relationship, the longest relationship, and then you get to the point where you're just like, I don't want to do this anymore. And then it's just over. But I guess that could happen with anything. Let's get to the comments and see what you guys have to say. So let me click comments. I'm getting good now. I'm getting good at this. Scroll up, scroll up, scroll up. Okay, so Jandera is laughing. Something made her laugh. Oh, maybe she's laughing at Maurice. Okay, and Jandera also says it depends on the person. Okay, point taken, because I didn't bring. Let me look at my notes. Did I say that? Did I say that? Did I say? I did not say that. I think because I'm against it, right? So I was like, I really wasn't in the gray area. I was on the no side. Okay, so long distance relationships ain't for me anymore. Right. Were you in one? Come on, if you got something to say about it, just drop it in the comments. Okay. Thank you for your comments. Also, how long the long distance? Okay. You mean like what's the length of time? Yes. Like, is it after one? Okay. What do you guys say? Is it after one? Not 1 month. Please don't have a long distance relationship. Y'all move together after 1 month. Disaster. I got stories, not about me, but I got stories. How long is the long distance? Do you mean, okay, nothing. How far is it, like from Sacramento to, if you're in California, is it like from Sacramento to the Bay Area? Is that long distance? Not really, huh? Okay, so if you're in California, they're in Texas, all right? You're in Vegas, they're in New Mexico or something like that. Or some people are in international ones, honey. They found they boo in like over somewhere in Europe. Okay, let's see. So that is true. That's a good question. Also, how long the long distance relationship is supposed to be? At what point does it become no distance? After a year, 6 months? Tell me, what do you think after 2 years? How long, if everything's going great, right? Everything's going great. What would be the cutoff time to be like, okay, somebody needs to move? Let's look at Maurice's comment. He says, I've tried a long distance, and after 6 months, I gave up, and we only saw each other twice. Like, who wants to do phone conversations that were boring? Phone sex, boring. Okay, I'm gonna say it. We all grown here. Okay, thank you for the illicit. Yeah. Jana, story. One of my cousins secretly, likes long distance. I was okay. Good point. I was thinking about this. She don't really like being tied down, but she swears up and down she wants to be in a relationship. You know what? This is what I want to say. When you sometimes we call other people unavailable. We can be single and unavailable. Unavailable people make unconscious, subconscious decisions about relationships a lot of time. Like, if there are people who kind of they really want the relationship, but they don't want the work of the relationship. I'm kind of relating to this where you just like, I like this freedom, right? And so they subconsciously enter into different type of relationships that reflect that. One is long distance. Another kind sometime is nothing. There, I can think of some other kind of relationships, okay? But what I'm gonna say is, no, I'm gonna be for real. There are people who are like, okay, they're the side piece, okay? God, I understand it. So what I'm saying is, some people choose things because they really don't want to be tied down. So they're making these other decisions. So I totally get what you said. I'm not condoning anything, okay? I'm just making a comment. Jeez, switch. Oops, girl gives up the tea. Yes, she spilled it, right? Her cousin probably don't watch it. Kafele says, I tried it twice. Both failed. I'm trying to think. I did it, I think. I wasn't really, I wasn't even serious about mine. It says, right, the distance and the length of the relationship, all that. So Jandera's in the gray area. She's saying depends on who it is. She's saying depends. She got a lot of depends. The right, the distance or the length. These are good points, though. These are good points. Okay, so we're all kind of in that same realm. But yes, I could see somebody engaging in long distance relationship because that will work perfect for them, right? That will work perfect because you don't have that person always around you with you. You still have your freedom. You get to they're pretty much an emotional support system for you. It's exciting when you see them, right? You haven't seen each other, so you plan these trips, you see each other, everything is just wonderful, it's like a vacation. Man, I might need to rethink that. Okay, your cousin is onto something. Okay, let me look at the comments. Oh, okay, that's someone tagging somebody. Thank you for tagging people. I totally appreciate that. Okay, let's get to the next one. We just said long distance. Okay, here's one. I'd like you guys to chime in. Once again, this is called Ask Janie. These were questions that were presented to me by different people that I also got from different sources. Some were like from articles, already discussion boards that was going on. Again, this is not a Christian show. This is not like a religious show. This is just me, Janie Branch, with her opinion. Okay, and I feel like I've gotten to a point in life where I can give my opinion. Anyway, is sex before marriage or a committed relationship wrong? This is two-part. What did I put? Is it? I'm just gonna go and say, I don't think it's wrong. I don't think that it is wrong. Because I think that when you have sex, that you should be responsible, is what I want to say. And that if you are going to be in a committed relationship, then you want to make sure that you're with them, of course, for the right reason and not just for sexual reasons. And when I say be responsible with sex, I mean, if you're somebody that's insecure, you got attachment issues, you still dealing with a lot of unresolved trauma, casual sex and just going out there around having sex with people is not going to work for you, because it's going to make you, you can get addicted to people. You totally can like find yourself in a trauma bonded to someone that's not good for you. So I just think that the real answer is that you need safe sex, sex that where you're doing things, you're doing it for the right reasons, not to keep somebody, not to just get the relationship, not because that you're lonely. And I think that with sex comes a lot of responsibility of why are you doing it? Or if you also, I did say casual, it could, because we're talking about someone that's going to be in a committed relationship, but it may not start committed at first, right? Because you got to get to that point. So when I'm saying casual, I mean like you meet someone, you date, and then you guys have sex. So I think that I'm not someone who believes in like purity culture. Because I think it's very harmful when we start telling people what they should or should not do. I think we should just educate ourselves and that we should come from a healed and healthy place. This is also a very personal question. People can do what they want to do. People been having sex. You ain't gonna stop people from having sex. They having sex. People are out here having sex. That's all I want to say. Kafele says, no, but I am a heathen. Okay. Right. I'm like, that's why I tell people, don't really listen to me like that. Okay. Don't listen to everything I say. Don't listen. Okay, so let's go to the next one. So Kafela and I both said no. I mean, I want people to have self-compassion. Don't, beat yourself up because you made bad decision or you slept with somebody you shouldn't have, or now that you regretted it. What we do is we learn from our experiences. Okay. Just learn from your experience. Don't be out here beating yourself up. Do what's right in your heart and be safe, in all ways that you can be safe. Safe. That's the main word I can think of. Okay. Next, totally not what I was raised on, right? Next one. How does speaking of, I just mentioned that, right? Unresolved trauma. How does unresolved trauma affect relationships? Okay. First of all, trauma is something deeply like a deeply disturbing experience that actually alters the way that you think. And how you show up, right? And when we think of like those like type of emotional traumas, we can kind of think of like people like with PTSD. That's just a good way to like from the war, right? That's the only type of trauma I used to think about. I didn't realize like that people have traumas, from your childhood. We have childhood traumas. We have childhood wounds, right? So we're talking about how does trauma affect relationships? And so one thing I did, I said, I don't think we understand the magnitude of how much trauma like impacts a relationship, that if it's not resolved, if it's not healed, if it's something you haven't worked through, we absolutely carry this into our relationships, and then we're destroying and killing our relationship. And we're thinking the relationships are hard to have when it's the people that make the relationship, right? Like your relationship got problems. Is because one of y'all got problems. Problems don't just, there's problems in the world, but we're talking about something you're created, right? We create this connection, right? We are the thing. So it's like, how do these unresolved, that means traumas that are going on emotionally inside of us that we haven't dealt with. So when we get into a relationship, a lot of times it causes us to be codependent, so it causes us to lean on our partners in ways that are just draining and too much for the other person. That means one person is pulling too much. But what happens when we both have unresolved traumas, right? We got to look at it. Let's look at it that we all have some type of trauma. Now, I don't know if this is still correct, but they used to call it little t trauma and big T trauma. That could be wrong. I'm not a therapist. I'm not a coach. I'm not any of those things, right? This is something I read. And it means that sometimes trauma also is not only what happened to you, but what didn't happen to you, right? So some people didn't get the love they need. They didn't get the nurturing. They didn't get the attention, right? They didn't have the parent that was present, right? The parent like clothed them, fed them, was responsible for them, but maybe the parent was a little critical to them. The parent didn't necessarily like beat them, but the parent probably used a lot of words and probably like didn't validate them, right? So you have people who start off with inner wounds because and we grow up as adults and we get into a relationship, right? And now we're looking for the love, attention, and nurturing that I should have got, that the person should have gotten from their caregiver. And now you're looking for in your partner. Is that wrong? We all have needs. No, but we shouldn't be dependent on them to be our source, right? Because those things have to start here. So if you have things that you haven't worked on before you got into a relationship, it's like you hustling backwards, right? Because we at least want to get to a place in our relationship where we're secure. You know, we're two secure beings that have our own peace and our own happiness. I know it's popular to say, be my peace. I actually think that's a dope saying. I think people are basically saying is that when I come to you, don't be chaotic. But we actually can't be somebody's peace. We can bring more peace into their life. We can add to their peace, right? We can't be somebody's peace because that is an internal thing, right? It's not external. It's something that's inside of you. Because right now, it is hot as heck. But if it was in the middle of a storm, the storm can be raging, right? But I could just be sitting in here knowing I'm under a roof, a pretty sturdy roof, and, you know, my feet kicked up watching Netflix, knowing the storm's going to pass over. I mean, I have peace. I'm not shaking like a leaf in the window going, oh my God, my house is about to blow over, right? Then I don't have any peace. And so my peace is not determined by what's happening outside of me. No, because it starts in here. So I can't really ask somebody to be my peace or to give me happiness because you will always forever be dependent on somebody else. You'll be like a socket. You got to keep plugging into the other person. Let me get your juice. So you're draining the hell out of this other person because you ain't took care of yourself. And you can find yourself in what we call a trauma bond where it's not even love. And a lot of us, myself included before, we thought it was love. No, it wasn't. A trauma bond is basically two people that have bonded over trauma. They both share a pain. And like, say somebody's like anxious. Is somebody saying it right? They have anxiety, so they're anxious. And the other person is like avoidant. So this is like a real thing. So sometimes you have people with these two different attachment styles. This person is avoidant and this person is more anxious. Those two usually get together. I don't know why, but a lot of times we go back to what we're used to. So we end up with people maybe like how our caregivers were. Somebody that's not loving, somebody that's not attentive to you, somebody that doesn't give you what you need, somebody that might be manipulative. All right, let me go to the comments before and see what you guys have to say. Okay. Oh, for some reason when I click it, I can't see it. Okay. Let's see here. Let me scroll up. And this is Gender. My opinion. No, I don't think it's wrong, but please be responsible. You said it perfectly. And she's talking about the sex question. I'm sorry, you wasn't here, so you missed the sex question. I can't repeat it. People subconsciously do things that are triggered by their trauma. Absolutely. So your partner may not even know what's going on with you. And you know, the thing about trauma is that when you are experiencing, let's say you're having a moment and you're having a real big reaction to something. And it may not even be what's truly going on. Your reaction may be coming from your trauma. So you're feeling like, and that's how trauma is. Trauma feels like it's happening to you right now. So let's say you were constantly yelled at when you were growing up, right? So now you're in a relationship and your partner came in the house and maybe just raised their voice and said, you know, like, damn, you always moving my stuff. But in that moment, you're still in that place of that child who was constantly being invalidated and yelled at. So at that moment, you go off on them. So your overreaction doesn't even match what they did, right? These are type of things that are unresolved trauma, and that can make you have a trigger. as Jandera said, and they're subconscious, because a lot of what we do is really from our subconscious mind. We don't even think about it. That's why you hear the popular saying is to be conscious, right? Be conscious of what you eat, don't mindlessly eat. Be conscious of what you take in on social media, don't mindlessly stroll. Be intentional. So the best thing is, before we get into a relationship, is to do what? Is to really to heal. No one's ever fully healed with the ED. No, to the day you're going to go in the ground. So we're constantly just on a healing journey. We all have something to heal from. Every last one of us. There's not one human that is perfect. There's not one single human that doesn't have something they need to work on. Yes, that perfect person. Yes, you, that person sitting right there who think that they're perfect. You got something to work on. And I bet you people know exactly what it is, but you don't. Like Mary J. Blige said, no more drama in my life. No one's ever going to make me hurt again. You have to protect yourself. And a lot of times, by getting on the healing journey and doing the work, we can learn to protect ourselves. And another thing is, like, once we get into a healthy mindset, we don't even pick the same type of partners. Like, you'll look back and be like, what was going on with me? Not saying things so bad about that person, but you don't even know what you want until you really heal. You don't really know what you want until you start getting all that nasty stuff out of you, until you really start working on those traumas and sitting in those emotions. You don't even know. Half the time, we don't even know who we are. We don't even see the beauty in who we are and what we have on the inside of us, and how amazing a relationship could be, because we are just so bogged down by being in these roles that are just normal, in these environments that we grew up in, and we think that's the way it is, and we don't think there's anything better. The person has to recognize the trauma triggers and work on it. Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. It's best to choose a partner. If you're somebody and you've been pretty much working on yourself, it makes it kind of hard in dating. Actually, it does two things. There's that gray area. So when you really do your shadow work, your inner work, and all that, and you start dating, it makes it actually easier, because you can weed out people sooner. So because when you date, you should be having fun, right? So if you're having fun dating, you're not like getting all bent out of shape because somebody didn't want you, somebody didn't like you, somebody didn't choose you. Because guess what? I choose myself every day. I don't need anybody to choose me. I already chose me. So if someone doesn't want to be with me, that's fine. That's not my person, right? Okay, but when you've like got a lot of trauma that you haven't worked through, you're wounded, you're codependent, and you're looking for a lot of validation. So that means that these people that you're dating, anybody who rejects you, anybody who doesn't live up to your expectation, you're upset, you're triggered, you're mad, because you shouldn't be dating. You should be dating yourself. You should be trying to have a relationship with yourself and getting healed, because there are beautiful relationships in this world. There are people who love one another, people who are good to one another. We just have to get out of the murk and see the beauty of it. I just need you to not be my drama. I like that one. Not be my drama. I got to be my own peace. Right. If two people really come peaceful and secure, man, the foundation is already pretty set right there, right? Let's just get somebody that's secure. Happiness starts with self. Happiness starts with self. Yes, I described codependency. Absolutely. Dion, she says, girl, you going there. Well, for real, for real. All right. Thank you, Miss Dion, for joining. Oh, we got something else here. People have manic episodes. That's very true. There are some people who have like bipolarism, and then they can have different episodes, and maybe they don't know that they have, something that they need to work on mentally. I mean, because you've all heard people who say this: nothing happened to me in my childhood. And sometimes that very person that says that, you like, something happened, because I can see it. Like, we don't want to look at our parents and say they did something so wrong, but there's nothing wrong with looking at the truth. All right. Jandera has something good to say. Oh my God, the time went away. Fight or flight is another action when someone is triggered. Very true. There's fight, flight, and there's like fawn, which fawn is like a freeze type of response. So some people, when they're triggered, they're going to start fighting. They're going to get into, they get very defensive. They get very upset. They come out swinging either with words or with their fists, or they can get violent. And then you have the person, if they're triggered, they want to run. They want to end a relationship. That was me. They want to run. They want to end a relationship. They want to get out of there because they don't want to be hurt. They don't want to be criticized. They don't want to feel that pain. They're trying to protect themselves. Remember, this is all from unresolved trauma. So we're like, oh, my relationships are so terrible and relationships are bad. But we got people who just have not like learned who they are and have not worked through some things. And it's absolutely wonderful to have a partner that you two can support each other and that you're being healthy. Alicia says, say it. Hey, Miss Holloway. I'm glad you were able to join. Dion says, now I say, I just missed a bullet. Okay, did you dodge a bullet? Yes. We got to dodge the bullets out here. Let's see. People have to understand that we are like mirrors. Our energy attracts subconscious natures. We are definitely like mirrors, because when you're going to see, the other person is going to see themselves. You're both seeing yourselves in each other, and you can see them, and you can see yourself in the other person. So relationships absolutely gauge where we are, how far we come, and how much healing we need. They absolutely will reveal what areas are lacking in your life. So sometimes, when you're alone, and then, so if you're alone and working on yourself, when you get in a relationship, you're going to see how much work you really put in yourself. When I'm triggered, I'm calling the police in my Karen voice. Okay, Maurice is back to trolling again. So let's go to the next question. Oh, did I have anything else to say about that? No, I think we answered it all. Okay, so... all right, I'll take a few more. Is online dating good or bad? Is this good or bad? I mean, I don't know, right? Is online dating good or bad? It's not. I think I'm going to just say it's good, okay? I'm going to go with that, but let's go to the middle ground. It can be bad, right? It can be bad because you got people who do lie. It's a lot of work. It's very tedious. You have to, and another thing, if you're going to online date, please be in tune to your intuition, okay? Your discernment, whatever you want to call it, your intuition, your gut, your discernment, all right? Please be attuned, because if your intuition clicks on somebody's profile and you see things like stuff you don't do, like every picture they have a glass in their hand. People drink, that's their business, right? I drink socially as well, but I'm saying every picture, and your intuition is like, I don't know, go with the I don't know, okay? And don't even entertain it, okay? Don't entertain it. Lean into your intuition, because it is there for a reason. It is built into for a purpose. It is built into your body for your protection, so that what you cannot calculate right here fast enough, your nervous system is picking it up and going, bop, 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 bop. That is called a red flag, okay? Don't move forward. Do not proceed forward. So is online dating, it's okay. It can be both. It can be kind of fun at first, then it gets tedious. And what they're saying right now? They're saying there's piss in the pool, piss in the dating pool. Yeah. It is. So, Jandera says, I'm neutral about online dating. Okay. Alicia says, tired of trying to raise a person from girl. Okay, we had to back up. We're on online dating, but this is about the unhealed trauma. How does unhealed trauma affect relationships? One thing you shouldn't be in a relationship is a parent to the other person. Nobody should come into a relationship and have to be my father. I'm not looking for a father. Nobody should come into a relationship having to be somebody's mother as well, right? We shouldn't be that person. We have to have boundaries, and it is okay to have a standard and a list of things. And your list might be, you need to be on a healing journey. You need to have started your work, because it is not our job to raise you, and it is not your partner's job. It is not your partner's job to raise you. It is not your partner's job to be your mama or your daddy. It is not your partner's job to heal you. I can support you if we're just friends, but I cannot be your lover and your therapist. I cannot be your mama and your lover. He cannot be my daddy and my lover, because you know what's going to happen after a while? When you're in those parentified relationships, you lose respect. You lose respect for that person that you are taking care of like a child, because you start looking at them like, you ain't got your stuff together. That's not sexy. That's not the romantic love starts leaving. And you know what? The person who is expecting you to be their parent, they don't respect you either after a while. You lose respect. Again, that's not it, because if it's almost like they're a child and you're my parent, and now you're going to be upset at them because they're going to be parenting you. They're not just going to be able to flow in the relationship because they got to look after you. Yes, respect gone. And it's not cute at all. It doesn't last. You might stay in that relationship. You may stay in that relationship, but y'all both don't respect each other. Okay, y'all better listen to what I'm saying around here. Maurice, let's see, trolling. Let's see. Online dating is both good and bad. I met my partner online back in 2012. Okay. We became friends, keep in contact. Then we started dating in 2016, became an official couple in 2017. Boom. Look, it's 2022 and we are still together. Yeah. Congratulations. It worked. It's working. You have to see past physical appearance and look for the red flags. Absolutely. And Alicia says, all facts. That's right. Okay. So what are we talking about? We're talking about online. Oh, we were talking about online dating. So online dating, we agree. We said it can be good or bad. Sometimes you get tired of it. I'm totally like, I was on online dating and now I'm on pause because I just don't feel like doing it right now. I'm gonna skip past this one. And let's go to this one. Okay, we're gonna do two more. All right. What does a broken heart, I said broken. What does a broken heart feel like? A broken heart feels like grief. It is absolutely a death, because it's you are grieving a relationship. You are grieving dreams. You've had to like go, it's almost like you buried somebody, because you sometimes, you plan a future with somebody, right? So if you have a future with them, that means you probably had dreams and goals and things that you were going to do, vacations planned. Maybe you thought you were going to get married. Maybe you thought you guys were just going to buy a house or do all these different things. And then those things do not happen. And so now you're not only grieving the person, but you're grieving a life that you no longer have, or a life that you thought you were going to have. Because when we get things up in here, sometimes we marry ourselves to those situations, right? Because if you think it, you believe that it's probably going to happen and you're working towards those things. And so what does a broken heart feel like? It is like intense pain, right? Like it's a lot of pain. It doesn't feel good. It's an emotional, it's not like a heart attack, but it is like, it is an emotional pain. It is your feelings. They are very raw, because it's something that was unsolved. Our brains are definitely built. We want understanding a lot of times. That's the way our brains are made, right? That's why we constantly think. So we want to we want to figure things out. We wanted it to work. It's a huge disappointment. You guys got anything to add to that? I think I'm going to do the other part to that. Yeah, it's disappointment. Jandera says it is disappointment. Yes. And Tony Braxton said it best. Unbreak my heart, say you love me again. Right. And especially if you didn't want it to end, but you know that it has to end, right? Like this relationship is not good for either one of us. So it has to end. So you're making a lot of decisions, because you thought this was going to work out, but we absolutely can get through it. And that's why I'm going to do the two part to this question, because there is a second part to it. And the second part is, how do we get over a broken heart? If you just joined us, this is Ask Jannie, and this is the relationship edition. And I'm answering questions that were given to me by people, or that I found on some chat boards and some articles. So how do you get over a broken heart? What did I put for that one? I said, first of all, take time alone. You need to go on a heart sabbatical, and that's for real, because if say you were in a long-term relationship, It's too easy sometimes to jump into the next relationship with somebody else. And then all you're doing, you haven't really unloaded what you had. You just kind of tucked all that, emotions away. And now you're in another relationship. You need to look and see what, was there a pattern? Do you keep getting into the same type of relationships? What are your patterns? Like what type of people are you choosing? Why are you choosing these people? You know what I'm saying? Why are you attracting these people? Why are you attracted to these certain type of relationships? And this is not the time to beat yourself up. This is the time to have self-compassion about yourself, to forgive yourself. And I absolutely say that you should take a sabbatical. We know, it's known, men move on faster than women. And sometimes when the man moves on, ladies, we be like, he moved on, like she better than me. No, it's because he had to go be with somebody else because he's being codependent, because he doesn't want to be alone. And sometimes women do it too, right? But they say women take more time for themselves. Like they do a lot of self-reflection, self-introspection, you know what I'm saying? Self-awareness. What did I do? What part did I play? Because if you just go into the next relationship, right, and you never figured out what part you played, how are you ever going to grow? How are you ever going to get into a better relationship? So I said, take time to be alone. Don't jump into another relationship. Heal. Start the healing journey and be honest with yourself. Be honest with the part that you played. Like healing starts with honesty. Just got to be raw, honest. Okay, let's see comments here. Anybody have comments on this broken heart thing? Jandera says, I'd rather love someone from a distance than disrupt my peace. Absolutely. I think we can all agree on that. Jandera also says, people jump out of one and they hop into another relationship. I'm going to say that I probably was on that gravy train. And I think a lot of times I'm going to admit, I didn't realize I was doing it. But my thing is I was in the dating world. And so I was open to dating. So that meant like, if somebody like tried to get at me, I'll be like, okay, let me just try this out. Cause this might be, the person. Let me see where it's going. When I should have been just like turning it down and been like, this is not the space for it right now, because I'm in a space by myself. And hey, you can hit me up about 6 months, I'm swear. But you know what I'm saying? I should have been, but I learned that. I had to learn that. So I don't like to knock people on those certain areas that I know I had to learn in. But yes, Jandera says you have to work on self first before moving forward. Right, before moving, because I was just moving on. I wasn't moving forward. I was just moving, right? But if you want to move in the right direction. Don't move backwards. Move forward, right? Because you want to grow, you want to advance, you want to learn. You don't want to step into the same situation, because if you don't take the time to be alone, it's very important to be alone for a season in your life. And it doesn't mean you don't have anybody. It just means you're not in a romantic relationship, but you absolutely should have support from people. And so the question is, again, is how to get over the broken heart, and to absolutely nurture your friendships that are non-romantic. People that are just in your life, friends and family who you're not romantic with, you should nurture those relationships, because those people love you. They have the ones that are wise, okay? And sometimes you just want to tell them, I just want to vent, right? So you can vent with them, you can talk with them, right? We're not alone like that. You just don't have that partner in your life, okay? I have nothing against relationships. I think they're absolutely beautiful. I just think we need to be in the right one. I am not, and I would hope people aren't just in a relationship just to be in a relationship. Your relationship is supposed to elevate you, and that doesn't mean you're using the other person. It just means you guys come together with your resources and you grow. Two but it's better than one. But baby, if it's just one, you can be a force by yourself, okay? I get over heartbreak because I'm cozy within my skin. Beyonce taught me that. He's trolling, y'all. She says, when you heal, dating can become more challenging. And I talked about that. When you heal, it's more challenging, because when you recognize the old you in other people, it's like, I know if you insecure, right? Because I see the signs, because I used to be insecure. I know you don't love yourself, because I can tell how you're showing up. I know that you're just saying things I want to hear, right? Because again, you're not secure, and you don't, or I know when a person doesn't really value themselves, right? So it means that because I have this new outlook and I have this healthy mindset, that's why I said it's tricky. It could either be more challenging in a sense, or it could be, it also makes it, I'm gonna say easier in that it weeds out. You don't waste a lot of time on people that you would have wasted in the past, right? So, like, say that you haven't been on your healing journey, and then you're dating. You gonna, like, I'm just saying this for the sake of for the sake of the conversation. You're gonna date Tom, Dick, and Harry, right? And then maybe like the other person, Chad, I'm just using the name, he ain't gonna be white, is the okay person. But let's say when you're more in a healed state, you're not gonna date Tom, Dick, and Harry. You're gonna be like, mm-mm, mm-mm, mm-mm. You're not ready. You know what I'm saying? So you're kind of saving yourself from a lot of heartbreak. Like, you're breaking your own heart when you don't heal. What happened to you is what happened to us was not our fault at all, right? But what is our responsibility is to heal once you know what you need to be healing about. Okay. I think we all can agree on that, right? It says, Alicia says, I prefer the real person from the gate. Okay, you own it, girl. Don't bring the representative. No, 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 no. At least you will, at least you will have the opportunity to assess who they really are and make an informed decision. Oh my God, girl, yes. Rather than find out find out way later the hard way, and your feelings are involved at that point. Let's unpack that really quickly. Absolutely. Because I used to be that person, right? I'm gonna use myself. I used to show up on my best behavior, right? But my best behavior wasn't just like, yes, no, please, thank you. My best behavior was performing. I was trying to be who I thought they needed to see so that I could secure this love, so that I could manipulate, right? But I don't know I'm manipulative. But when you don't show up as yourself, you're manipulating. If you show up trying to love bomb the person, and you already heard of love bomb, I knew this word a long time ago. This phrase is back popular. No, I'm not on a trend. I've been knowing about this word. That's when someone meets you and they're like, they're giving you over the top love, praise. It could be money, it could be gifts, it could be material, or it could just be just too much too soon. You know, it's like after 3 days, they're trying to marry you. Okay. They're talking about marriage, they future faking you, right? So sometimes that person is showing up as a representative. I want to see the person. I want to see just who you are, how you dress, what you have. Why are we not comfortable in our own skin? Why are we not comfortable showing up as ourselves, right? I think we're not, because we don't know who we are half the time. When you know who you are, you're going to show up as you are. And if you're secure in who you are, you're going to show up like that. And if the other person doesn't like you, you're still secure in who you are, because it doesn't matter if you reject me, because I am the only person that can validate me and accept me, right? Myself. And if you have a relationship with God, you're going to say between you and God. I'm just trying to cover all the bases here, right? And so the other part of what you said is, at least you have an opportunity, right? When we show up as your real self, at least I'm making an informed decision, because sometimes people will go along with your jacked up mess, right? But at least they knew it from the beginning. It was no surprises, okay? Like, let's be real adult about this situation. And once your feelings are involved, it's very hard to roll that back up. That's when your heart gets broken. When your feelings aren't involved, and it's not saying we don't overcome heartbreak, but it does mean that it's harder to get out of the relationship. And that's just human. Like, and don't beat yourself up about that, because I used to beat myself about all this stuff. But that is just human, that it's hard to pull that back, and it takes time. It wastes time, and it's a big distraction if we all just showed up who we were in the beginning, and I could figure out if this is something I want to do. I skipped one over here. Yes, you always have to have self-reflection. Okay. So as Janie went on pretty long today, I'm going to have to probably save some of these for next time, but I think I have one more here. Let me go down and see if it's here. Okay. I thank you guys so much for joining and for putting your comments and engaging. I enjoyed you all. Let me look for the last one. I think it's here. Okay. And I'll just have to save these questions for the other questions for another time. How do you know you have settled? What would you say on that one? How do you know that you have settled? How do you know? I think that you know that you've settled when your needs are not getting met and when your wants aren't getting met. I think it's both sides. It's when you're not getting your needs met. Your needs are not being met, number one. And you're not getting what you deserved, and you're not even getting a little bit of what you want or what you desire. Because if you're with somebody, they should be giving you some of what you want, right? And and whatever your most important need is, right? You should be able to ask, like, say, if you say, when I'm saying asking for needs, we're not saying in a codependent way. But if you're like, I need to, vent some time to you. And if the person never has a listening ear, but one of your needs is that you need an attentive ear, okay, that need isn't being met. Maybe I need you to not always be so busy. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're busy with work and you're busy with all these things. Maybe I need you to carve out time for me, right? Like, I'm not trying to be all your time, but what if you never have time for me, right? But we're in this relationship. So that is like a need not being met. We got to really be okay with what we need and stand up and ask for it. Maybe I need this person to respect my boundaries, but they don't. They crawl all over my boundaries. Like, maybe my boundary is like, I do my meditation at 10 a.m. At 10 a.m., I don't really want to talk during that time because that's the time, I'm getting my headspace together. And this person constantly calls you at 10 a.m. Or they're knocking on the door and you're like, this was my time. So if these are examples of not getting your needs met, maybe you need consistency. They're not giving you consistency, right? So you're settling when your need isn't being met, your desires isn't being met, and you're definitely not getting what you deserve. And I think we settle because maybe we feel like we're not going to get any better, or this is the last good thing. At least is this, we make excuses. Let me check out the comment. So let me switch over to the comment. Kafele says, you settle when you allow things in your life you don't want. Wow, you really said it better than what I said. When you allow things in your life that you don't want, right? So I just named a whole bunch of things that I did want, but they're not happening. The opposite is happening, right? So, and I'm just still there. And I'm trying to smudge on through the relationship. And sometimes we stay because we stay in those situations because we think longevity, or we think like, because we're thinking it's been 10 years, it's been 7 years, it's been 5 years, it's been 16. I don't want to waste this time. I read something so profound where someone said, this woman was talking about what she wasn't getting from the relationship. And the person says, well, it sounds like you know what you need to do, right? And she says, well, it's 17 years. Who's going to just throw that away? No, you're not supposed to just throw away 17 years or something like that. And the person responded, said, according to who? You're like, who made this rule that I got to settle, right? Like, who made this rule that I'm supposed to stay in a toxic relationship? Who made this rule that says that I don't have to get what I deserve? And you know what? When you value yourself, you know that you deserve the best just because you were born. Just because you're breathing, you deserve to be loved, and you deserve to be loved in the right way. And you don't have to beg for that, right? You shouldn't have to beg to be loved right. That should not be something you should be begging for. Okay. When a person puts themselves second. Aha. So this is good because sometimes people don't know they're settling, right? They think, this is me. I'm going off me. When I was settling, I thought I was working towards something good. I was hoping, and what I was doing was spinning my wheels. I thought that I was giving this person grace. I thought that I was giving this person time. I thought that I was having unconditional love, but I was having I was having like high tolerance for a bunch of bullshit is what it was, right? So when a person puts themselves second, very good. Exactly. Making excuses for allowing someone to walk all over you. Right. And then we'll be like, well, they haven't matured yet. We make excuses for why this person hasn't
why we're selling. Well, they haven't matured yet. Well, they just need more time. Well, this person had a past, and they need to do this, and they need to get themselves together, or they need a better job, or they got a lot on their mind. At what point are we going to hold the other person accountable and hold ourselves accountable to say, I am settling? Okay, so that is the last question. That is my last one. I really enjoyed the show this evening. I thought that it was great topics. It was great questions. I appreciated you guys' engagement. I will be back next week for another topic. Yes, I will. And I will let you know. I will put up a ad, and you'll be able to see what it is about. Once again, this was the Jannie B Perspective, and I totally thank you all for joining the show. And stick around for the outro. It's going to let you know how to subscribe on YouTube, where you can like, comment, and share. Thank you. Remember, subscribe. I thank you guys who've already subscribed, and thank you for joining the Jannie B Perspective. Good night and be safe. Good night and be safe. Jannie B Show.